So I was reminded just now of another thing on the very long list of things I love about Eddie Watkins Jr. One is that when he comes here, I know what my message topic is because it's somewhere in one of these songs. And so you can guess what the title is. Well, you don't have to guess. An inside job. You change the way you look at a thing, that thing changes. Now, how can that be? That's the question that I want you to sit with today. The transforming power in our lives resides in the indwelling spirit within us. This is how we learn to live from the inside out. The master teacher said, "For in fact, the kingdom of God is among you." Right? Within you, that has been translated, one or the other. The point is that it connotes nearness, right? Not high up and far away, an intimacy, a participation. We participate in this God presence that is around us and in us and as us, here and now. Throughout his writings, Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore taught that all power arises from within. We begin from within and we live from the inside out. Life, the world, and the universe make a whole lot more sense when we learn to live from the inside and let it flow out from there, rather than letting the world tell us what kind of box we think we're supposed to stuff ourselves into. And that never works. I invite you to chuck the box, recycle that box. Don't throw it in the trash. Recycle that box. There is no box that you need to fit into. I have a brief affirmation for you. You can use this one in the workshop. Be the box. You be the box. Don't let the world stuff you in a box. Everything begins in consciousness. An inside job means the primary arena of our spiritual work is our inner life within us. In this Lent season, I invite you to think of Lent as a returning to this interior life. This 40 days of reflection, prayer, and realignment with the truth of the Spirit that is within you. In the Revealing Word, co-founder Charles Fillmore writes that the Christ is the true spiritual self in every individual. And in Unity, we use that phrase, the Christ, because our movement is out of the Christian movement. But that thing that we call the Christ or call God or that indwelling spirit has been called many things in many traditions. Trust me, it doesn't care what you call it. In fact, it doesn't trade in words. It doesn't trade in ideas. It's us that trade. It's our thinking minds that have created words and ideas. And I invite you to allow your words to be signposts. Don't invest too much meaning. Don't lay up too much treasure in any particular words. Recognize that the job of a word is to point you to a thing. If I tell you about a strawberry, your mind can bring to mind what that is. Is there a strawberry here? No. Is there a strawberry in your head? No. What the strawberry, the thing itself, that is what it's all about. I'm just pointing you at it, reminding you of it. I love it when sometimes, especially young folks, create new words. Young people's job is to stir the pot. Have you noticed that? Yes. Is to do things that we are not that comfortable with so that we can expand our ability to be comfortable with all of humanity in every expression. And I remember growing up, I'd hear things like, that ain't a word. That's a made-up word, they said. And I'm like, honey, every word is a made-up word. Did you know that? This is just a new made-up word. So you should embrace it. We don't make up words for no reason. Right? If folks, especially young folks, going around saying a thing, it means something to them. It means something. All language is made up. We created all of it. Chill out about the new words. Again, in the Revealing Word, co-founder Charles Fillmore writes that the Christ is the true spiritual self of every individual. Not a God that is high up and far away, but the living Spirit within, the living Christ, we say, present within, always and forever. Right? We say there is nowhere that God is not. Right? And it's us. Meister Eckhart said, God's always at home. It's us who've gone out for a walk. Right? And I've heard many times, it is not possible to be separate from God, but it is possible to think ourselves apart, to think ourselves separate. So our task becomes to return home, because life is an inside job. We want to get where the action begins, which is the Spirit at the very core of our being. Charles Fillmore's favorite Bible verse from the Apostle Paul, and it's this: Christ in you, the hope of glory. It means if you can get this, everything will fall in place for you. If you can get that the Spirit within you is who you are underneath it all, and if you can find that place and keep returning there over and over, that's what our spiritual practices all are, no matter what form it takes. A spiritual practice is designed to return our awareness over and over to the presence of the Spirit that is in us. You do that enough times, it becomes a habit. It becomes easier to find your way home each time. You know, I have been told or heard by religious folks, and not just any particular religion, but all over the place, this idea that we humans, all of us, are somehow broken, and I want to offer you a replacement idea for that. Is we are not broken, but yes, we are lost, meaning we've lost our way and we've lost sight of the presence of the Spirit in us. We've lost sight of who we truly are. The good news is nothing is lost in the realm of the Spirit. You can return to this place. It is there. It's always been there. It will always be there. There's nothing you can do about it. It's always there for you. Our job is to return to it. Thomas Merton, you know Thomas Merton, the Christian mystic, Catholic, wrote, "At the center of our being is a point of nothingness which is untouched by sin and by illusion, a point of pure truth, a point or spark which belongs entirely to God." So here's a Catholic monk just nailing this point. Can you hear what he's saying in there? He's using some traditional language. If we were writing it, like, we don't like the word sin because of the way it's been misused so much. And I invite you to think of that word, S-I-N, those three letters, as a spiritually ignorant notion, right? A notion is an idea. So any idea that is contrary to the truth of the Spirit in you is spiritually ignorant and is distracting you from that truth. You can call that a sin if you want to. We might say that this point of nothingness is untouched by any error thought, right? Any mistaken ideas about ourselves, about the world, about God, and by illusion. The inside job that we're talking about is to learning to live from that center. A powerful aspect of this is that consciousness is causative. Right? Things begin in consciousness and cause the outside world to change around us, as Eddie's song stated. You change the way you look at a thing, and all of a sudden that thing changes. Well, how does that work? Well, guess what? The thing didn't change, but the viewer changed. The seer changed. It's been said, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. That's absolutely true. I know you've had that experience. You learn something, you change your attitude, you choose to let go of a resentment and be open and willing to see more clearly what's going on. And all of a sudden, it's like the whole world changed. I got a Volkswagen Beetle many years ago, and on that very same day, so did a whole bunch of other people. Isn't that weird? I'm a trendsetter, apparently. I get a car, everyone gets a car. Now that's silly, and we can laugh at that because we know what's really going on. All those other cars were there the whole time, but I didn't see them until my attention got focused on it because I got a Volkswagen Beetle. Now that I have one, oh my gosh, look, they're everywhere. How self-centered is that? That's the world according to my brain. And we've all got one, I think. And we've all created a world. Now, you've heard me say, you encounter someone, you say, I don't know what world they're living in. It seems like they're living in a different world. Well, guess what? They are. Because they're living in a world that they created, and you're living in a world that you created. And if you had all the same life experiences they had, you would have created that same world. But you didn't. You had your life experiences. Consciousness is causative. Ernest Holmes writes in his landmark book, The Science of Mind, change your thinking, change your life. Right? This does not even necessarily have to be any kind of religious or spiritual thing. This applies in a secular manner. These truths run so deep, it doesn't matter how you conceive of them. They are true everywhere all the time. In fact, that's one thing I've always loved about the unity movement. And I didn't walk in and people told me what I had to believe. I walked in and people said, what would happen if you looked at it like this? Why don't you try it and find out? And if we're right, you'll see that we're right. And if we're wrong, it won't work for you, and that's fine too, no problem. You can go on your merry way. I was invited to find out for myself whether these principles hold true. And I found out that they do. And I felt called to share them. That's what I'm doing here. Our outer life reorganizes itself around this inner realization. An inside job means that we take responsibility for our inner life, things like the narratives, the stories that we rehearse in our heads. Right? One thing I noticed about a story, and you can see it especially, this has always been true, a repeated story gets believed, right? You tell the same story long enough, people will believe it no matter how ridiculous it is. And what kind of stories get repeated? Good stories. With a good story, it has a hook in it. It's interesting. Right? The best lie has a little grain of truth to distract you from the fact that it's a bold-faced lie. It's like, well, that is kind of true, that one little part, and then you're buying the whole story. Right? So we rehearse these things in our mind, and our work is to become aware of the stories that we're telling ourselves over and over. They came from somewhere. It's not a problem unless we call it a problem. But would you become willing to see underneath that story, to let it go long enough to see? Because we will carry old stories for us for a very long time, far beyond their ability to serve our lives. They become burdens, and those are the ones we want to let go of. So we take responsibility for the stories, for the narratives that we repeat in our minds. We take responsibility for the meaning that we create. I remember I got interested in biblical Greek for a minute several years ago, enough to see that, the Christian scripture is written in Greek, ancient Greek. It's biblical Greek. It's the Greek that everyone spoke in that time and place. It was the common language. That's why it was written, so that everyone could read it. Everyone could understand it at least. They actually couldn't read it, but they could hear it and understand it. And the question, what does this say? Right? You're learning a foreign language and you have a piece of writing in front of you. What does this say? So you can learn that, well, this word means this, and this means it's possessive, and blah, 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 and however the grammar works and all that. But then here's a completely different question. What does this mean? Oh, that's not the same thing at all. And I heard a language expert respond to someone pointing and said, what does this mean? He said, I can tell you what it says, but what it means, that's a whole other discipline. That is a different thing entirely, because we create meaning. We are creators of worlds. Right? The Hebrew wisdom in the Hebrew Bible of the creation stories makes a whole lot more sense when you realize that we are all creators of worlds. We have inherited that. We're made in the image and likeness of the ground of being. We are creators of worlds. The world you've created is your own world. And if you see that, you can find your way out of the trap that you have created and put yourself in. Spiritual growth, then, can be seen as a disciplined tending of consciousness. We keep returning to that place over and over again, noticing what's going on, not trying to fix it. Fixing is a mind thing. Like fixing is a worldly approach. We don't fix, you notice. And when you notice something, when you shine a light on an untruth, it can't continue. It just fades away on itself. It's like it miraculously got healed. Like, what did you do? Nothing. Nothing is a very healing thing to do. In fact, on Sunday mornings at 9:30 when we have our meditation, which you all already know because you're all there every week, is the practice is doing nothing for no reason, period. We don't say, I meditate so that. There's no so that. You're either doing the practice or you're not. All you need to do is dedicate yourself to returning over and over. We don't keep score. You don't assess your practice. You're not good at it or bad at it. There's no such thing as being good at meditation or bad at meditation. The only thing there is you are doing it or you're not doing it. And if you're not doing it and you realize it and you want to do it, start doing it. There's no problem. There's no score. We don't keep track of how many minutes I was God aware and how many minutes my mind was distracted. You just keep coming back over and over. In this interior alignment, we could call it, includes silence, practicing the presence of God. I love that description of any kind of meditation, practicing the presence of God. Someone say, well, I don't like the word God. Okay, don't use the word God. Practice the presence of life that is within you. Practice the presence of this silence, this nothing. Don't you find it astonishing that Thomas Merton, who's 100% dedicated himself to the spiritual life in the Catholic tradition, looks within and describes that spiritual presence as a nothingness? Nothing. What is it? It's nothing. God is no thing. But God is the no thing that's everything. And you will know that when you experience it. I'm not asking you to believe it because I'm saying it. I'm asking you to undertake your own practice. Keep coming back to the silence within you over and over again and see what happens. So this interior alignment includes practicing the presence of God, returning to the silence. It includes what I call an honest self-examination of what's going on inside of us, like without condemnation. Normally, we want to run away from things that we look like, and many religious people would say, well, what is your spiritual practice? Well, we look within ourselves to what's going on in our mind, and like, why would you do that? Have you seen my mind? My mind is a dangerous neighborhood. You don't want to be hanging around in there. Like, you think I want the opposite of that. Well, you're never going to get the opposite of that if you aren't even willing to look at what's going on, right? You literally be afraid of your own shadow. I guarantee you, if you're afraid of your own shadow and you are unwilling to look at your own disconnection, dysfunction, the ways that you're lost, you will never find your way to this nothingness, this silence that underpins everything. You have to be willing to look, and when you look, watch out for your judgment. Like, set it aside. It's okay, no matter what's going on, no matter what you've done, no matter what's happening, no matter what crazy stuff you're thinking, it's okay. Just acknowledge it. It's like, yeah, there it is. Well, that seems kind of crazy. Welcome to the human experience. This is how it is, right? If you want a mind that doesn't contain any of that, I have bad news for you, which is that you're on the wrong planet. Because that is not how things work around here. It's not. And it's okay, though. It's okay. It's not a problem unless you call it a problem. Another part of this is we release anything that no longer serves our further unfoldment, if you will. All the dysfunctions that we carry are there for a very good reason. Many of them are very old. When we were very little, we had to come up with coping strategies for what we were encountering in the world, and they kept us safe, and they served an important purpose. The problem is if we hang on to those well into our adult life, we don't need them anymore, but they're bad habits of mind. Unhelpful. Let's call them unskillful. I take back the word bad. They're unskillful uses of mind that used to be in service to us and are now holding us back. So we're looking for those things that we can let go of, that we can release. That's part of our inner work. Now here's the beautiful part of it, reflected in Eddie's opening song. We come together. We come together. Community is an essential aspect of this. I learned on my journey somewhere that while no one can do my inner work for me, I cannot do it alone. I can't do it alone. We have to grow in our individual inner work and in a community. Both are required. You can't just have one. You can't just have community without inner work, and you can't just have inner work without community. A powerful teacher of mine remarked, if you want a small enlightenment, go to the mountaintop. If you want a big enlightenment, go to the city. Because it's easy to be enlightened on a mountaintop where there are no other people. Have you ever noticed all the problems in the world tend to come down to one thing? And it's not trees and squirrels and rabbits or even rocks. What is it? It's people. Right, because we're all running around with our own world that we created trying to correct everyone else. How fun is that? How fun is that? The same spirit that dwells in me dwells in you and in everyone. That's the bottom line. When we talk about oneness, when we use that word oneness, that is what we mean. Is that presence in you is in me, and it's exactly the same in everyone. And we're all connected in that way because we're each showing up as an expression, an individual expression of this one spirit that underpins all. And when we undertake the practice of tending to our own consciousness, we contribute to the collective experience. Right? It matters. What we're doing ourselves, it matters. Our individual work matters, not just for us, but for the way that we show up in the world. A grounded presence steadies a room. You ever been in a room with someone that is completely unperturbed? They're just grounded and centered and all is well, and they look at you and they see the spirit in you and they know all is well. You can feel that a mile away. Those monks that walked from Texas to Washington, D.C. carried that very energy. And I saw them here in town. So many of us did when they came through and they went to the State House steps and delivered a powerful message of peace that's based on these exact principles. That's a completely different religion. Who cares? The Spirit does not care about religions, words, and labels. It's wordless. Find it however you can. If one doesn't work for you, try another. A clear heart de-escalates conflict. That's another thing that happens. When you're around a person that is deeply grounded in peace, conflict seemingly melts away. A conflict is a creation of our minds. It's always based on fear of dominating someone else because what they're doing, I don't like the way it makes me feel. So the answer is what? Stop them from doing it. Our answer is not that. Our answer is look within. What's the problem? What's going on within you? Begin there. That's not to say that all behavior is acceptable. We have laws and rules for a reason. Like we have jails and prison for a reason. And some of us are still learning to act right. You know what I'm saying? And actions have consequences. We're not pretending otherwise. And that can all coexist with what I'm sharing with you. Just because we're all one and we're all expressions of the Spirit doesn't mean that all behavior is acceptable. Doesn't mean you can go around treating people however you want. We have rules. That's important. And we have consequences. When I talk about forgiveness, I always point out, sometimes our forgiveness work can happen across the country. It can happen across prison bars. And when we talk about letting go and practicing forgiveness, that does not mean be a doormat. Right? If you're in an abusive situation, your only duty is to get yourself and your loved ones to safety. Do that first. And then maybe we'll talk about forgiveness, which is the inner work of letting go of something we've been holding on to. So this inside job that we're talking about, that Eddie sang about, becomes a communal gift It is a gift to everyone when we do our inner work and when we show up in community to do our work together. So I'm going to close with this. The Spirit of God dwells within us as a living presence, right here and right now. This consciousness is our true identity. It's the field in which transformation unfolds. As we tend to our inner life with discipline and trust, our outer life become expressions of our divine life in action. So you change the way you see a thing, and that thing changes. Let's close with this affirmation. I'll read it, and then we can share it together. The Spirit of God lives within me, and I live from that holy center. Together, the Spirit of God lives within me, and I live from that holy center.